I am never going to be a one watch collection kind of girl. Like many watch enthusiasts, I have an impossible time picking favorites because there's no such thing as a perfect watch. Lately, one of the watches in my collection that has really been standing out is the SPB143, also known as the SBDC 101, which for the sake of expediency, I will now be referring to as the 143. Although I could never settle for just one watch, if I was considering moving down to a one watch collection, the 143 is proving to be an excellent candidate. When exploring Seiko, you will encounter bold, subtle, modern, and vintage style pieces, tons of limited editions, various case materials such as titanium, stainless steel, and a variety of different movements like kinetic, solar, and so much more. The 143 is Seiko's more refined and robust take on past SPB models, but in my opinion this is a better representation of that vintage Seiko style and size than say an SBDC 051. This watch sits firmly in the middle of the Pro Specs line, priced well under the higher end stuff, but more than one could comfortably call it an entry-level Seiko. Some of you may be wondering if this watch is really worth the price tag. The idea with the 143 is yes, you're spending a little bit more, but you're getting an overall more refined and complete package. Anyone who's a fan of the brand will recognize this as a Seiko from a mile away. To me, it's an instant classic. Part of the reason watch enthusiasts have responded so well to the release of the line of timepieces that this belongs to is because it's emblematic of why so many of us fell in love with the brand in the first place. The watch was inspired by Seiko's 62 Mass. That's Seiko's first dive watch, which was released in 1965. Although there are some vintage elements to its case, the 143 is still a very modern diver. I have seen it compared favorably to the Tudor Black BB58 multiple times in terms of case thickness, wearability, and just general design. The watch does have some heft to it, but it has a relatively low profile and doesn't wear like a brick on the wrist like so many other Seiko divers. It's relatively wearable on my smaller 6-inch wrist. The watch is 40.5 millimeters, which is just on the cusp of what I can get away with. That combined with a lug-to-lug of 47.6 and a case thickness of 13.2, it's not a small watch and it definitely has some wrist presence. But it's a lot smaller than, say, Seiko's first 62 Mas tribute, the SPDC 051, 053 series. Being a member of the Pro Specs line and a mid-tier entry, it has a 6R35 movement. It has hacking, hand winding, and a 70-hour power reserve. As far as accuracy goes, just like nearly every other Seiko, it's an unregulated movement. Currently, my watch is running minus 12 seconds a day, so not terrible, but not awesome either. The problem is this is a $1,200 diver, and when I first purchased the watch, it was running +2, -3 seconds a day. Now it has drifted to its current state. This is a constant problem that I have with Seiko, but not my ETA and Sellita-based watches. For $1,200, I want better reliability and a tighter standard than +25, -15. But there are plenty of positives. The attention to detail with this watch is very impressive. The dial has an attractive gray sunburst pattern, crisp, clean hour markers, a 3 o'clock date window, and an index-style handset that has combined polish with brush to give you great visibility in any light. Speaking of visibility, this watch has tons of lume. I often wonder why other companies will make watches with such crappy lume. It seems like a weird place to cut cost. Luckily, with Seiko, that's never a problem. The watch features a brushed stainless steel 120 click bezel with Seiko's super hard DiaShield coating, so you don't have to worry too much about scratches. With this watch, I think the stainless steel bezel was a wise choice. It has a beautiful brushed finish that just catches the light in a way that you don't see with ceramic. The stainless steel case and bracelet have a brushed finish to them and are coated in DiaShield. DiaShield not only offers premium scratch resistance, but gives the case and bracelet a slightly darker finish, which goes well with the color of the dial. And it really works. I've had this watch for over a year and I've taken it to the beach a couple times. Gotten sand all over it and not one scratch. I've bumped it into a door, my desk, the wall, and still not any scratches. It's not on the same level as Zinn's tegmented steel, but it's pretty darn effective. Let's talk a little bit more about the bracelet. With Seiko, the bracelets can be hit or miss, and I'm fairly happy with this one. The bracelet is slightly tapered, and although it doesn't fit as comfortably as some of my other tapered bracelets, it's still not bad. It has drilled lugs, so it's very easy to swap out the bracelet for a strap, which I have been considering. I might get a better fit on my smaller wrist with a nice NATO or maybe even a rubber strap. It has a standard pin collar system, so it's a bit of a pain to adjust, but still doable for anybody with a little patience. The clasp is pretty standard. It's just a generic 3-fold deployment clasp, but it does click in nicely and has a solid, reliable feel. It does have a micro adjust and a diver's extension. With this bracelet, there's definitely some pros and cons to consider because this model is only sold on the bracelet. But like I mentioned earlier, the drilled lugs give you a lot of strap options. I have it on the bracelet, but I think it definitely has the potential to be a legit strap monster. I've seen plenty of photos with different strap options. It looks good on black and brown and tan, even navy. And you also have the option of experimenting with different materials as well. You can do leather, rubber, or different NATOs. Hey, I bet it would even look good on a bunch strap. The fact that this watch is so versatile is probably the best reason that it would be a fine one-watch collection watch. Most know Seiko as the value buy. Typically, you can get a lot more watch from Seiko for significantly less money than from their European competitors. For those of you who are looking into Seiko because of its value, I understand that a Seiko retailing for $1,200 might give you sticker shock. But for the true Seiko fans, you will understand that this watch is still a great value and has a lot to offer. The SPB143 has a better movement than entry-level Seikos, while the Diashield coating offers premium scratch resistance and durability. The watch in general is more restrained. You have to look closely to appreciate all the little details that went into its design language, but that's part of the reason this watch is such a great daily driver. So whether you're on the hunt for the perfect one-watch collection, or, like me, you're a watch junkie who has an impossible time picking favorites, maybe there could be some room for the SPB143 in your collection. Or maybe it could be your entire collection.